Hey, this is Parag Sarati, founder of ROMA International, where my mission is to help find new and creative ways to help improve myself, improve my business, and help my colleagues and my clients improve themselves and their businesses as well by applying some of the same principles and knowledge that I've learned. So today I want to discuss a more, something that I learned over time, which is a more effective way of thinking, making decisions, and managing my overall time, right? Which has both been very effective for me personally and for my business. So let me ask you a few questions. So have you ever had, too many things on your plate where you just feel completely overwhelmed? I know sometimes we have our to-do list it's a huge laundry list, and before the day even begins, you're just completely overwhelmed, saying, "How am I going to even approach doing half of these things, let alone complete my to-do list?" Do you ever wish that you had more time in the day to take care of all the stuff that you needed to do, or just had a clone of yourself to help you do some of the stuff that you needed to get done throughout your day, whether it's in your business or in your personal life? Or worse yet, have you ever completed a lot of these tasks and at the end of the day, you feel like you haven't even made a dent? You just spent all day fighting fires. I know I personally have. My background, I worked in corporate America for 20 plus years, where I was head of or part of the sales and marketing division. I led and managed multiple teams. We were running relatively lean, so we were obviously wearing many hats. Amongst the core responsibilities that I had with sales and marketing, I was of course leading a few groups and had personnel matters to deal with as well, and dealing with other parts of the organization. And amongst all this, of course, I had to make sure that I took care of all these requests that are coming from my customers, and more importantly, internally through my executives, right? So, needless to say, things can get a little bit overwhelming when you have that much stuff on your plate, and I'm sure you guys can relate as well. So, ultimately, I after a few years of this and just burning myself out completely, we started looking for solutions, right? Started looking solutions naturally from within the organization, where I'm like, let me find some people that have actually gone through something similar that I have, and maybe perhaps give me some guidance. So there are a lot of nice individuals within the organization that helped me through the process, but ultimately it wasn't what I was looking for. They were still super busy doing what they were doing. And it just seemed like they're spending a lot more time than necessary on specific things, where it was actually taken away from a lot of their time, let's say spending with family, for example, right, which I wasn't willing to sacrifice. So then I started looking outside of the organization. So I read a bunch of books, listened to a lot of audio programs. It's a personal development space and so on. And I stumbled upon, a lot of magic or gems that actually shifted my way of thinking and doing things, which I wanted to share with you today. Ultimately, what it helped me do is just to gain supreme clarity on what was going on and what I wanted to do. It helped me improve my productivity throughout the day, and then ultimately helped manage my time a little better, where I wasn't completely burnt out at the end of the day, and I felt like I was making a lot of progress, and not just necessarily fighting fires all day long. So I wanted to share some of these with you. Like before, what I used to do was just, okay, I got these 100 things to do. I'm going to prioritize, and by the hotness or whatever the hotness is for that time, or whoever was yelling the loudest, or I shifted that from that to how can it be more effective and more results oriented so that I can get more out of what I'm trying to do, right? So I wanted to share some of those tools with you that I stumbled upon, that I basically applied and implemented in my life and my business. And I want to share those with you to help you with your personal development in your life and help you break through to the next level in your business, right? And these are very simple steps. I'm going to go through them one by one so that you understand. So first and foremost, jot down everything that you have to do tomorrow, right? Or to do all your to-do lists. So basically get it from here onto paper, right? We're not saying that, because basically once it's in your head, it keeps on going in this never-ending loop, and it feels so overwhelming because it just feels like there's 100 things out there where in reality there might be 20 or so, right? I'm not saying that this is your case, but at least it wasn't my case, so I just wanted to relay that to you. So once I jotted down, or we jot down all the to-do list, now you can probably see some that can be grouped together into similar buckets, right? So for example, you have a few things that are related to sales. You have a few things that are related to your marketing sector. You have a few things related to maybe finance or accounting. You have a few things outside of business related to family, relationships, right? And all those things, like I gotta call my wife, and I gotta, take my kids to practice, or I gotta talk to Jen about this report, all right, sales report, or whatever it is. Bucket those into major categories, and now you'll see and realize that, instead of like these 100 things, now you've basically categorized it and bucketed into these manageable pieces, right? So all of a sudden there's a little bit more clarity, like, okay, I understand. No, it's not like 100, so I'm not overwhelmed at this point. I know that these are maybe manageable now. So once we get to that step, then understand, okay, within each of these categories, these buckets, and this file system that I've created, what is the big picture on these, right? What is the ultimate goal for me for this particular category? So let's say it is sales, right? One of the categories is sales. So for sales, my target is increasing revenue for 30%, by 30%, right? That is my ultimate goal for sales. Now, understand what the big picture is on that, and then more importantly, understand, which is the next step, is why is that important? What is the purpose behind it, right? So if it's your business, you want to increase revenue by 30%, there's a reason behind that. Obviously, in addition to increasing the overall income, but it may mean that you're impacting 30% more people with your product or service that you're offering, right? So have this more of an emotional attachment, so that because this is what your driving force, your driving factor is going to be, and this is going to be something that when you look back on it, it'll help you push through some of those difficult times and be persistent in trying to accomplish what your objectives are or want to be, right? So again, big picture, why do you want, what is it, the result that you're after for that category, and what is the purpose behind it? What's the reason that's an emotional attachment for you, so that can keep pushing you to create even new solutions to try to approach that, not just your to-do list, right? Which we'll get into here in a little bit. And then the next step is, okay, out of these, 3 or 4 things that are in this bucket, or let's say even 10 things in this bucket, you guys have obviously heard of the 80-20 rule, where doing 20% of the targeted or focused items will help you move the needle 80%, right? So get you 80% of the results. So what are those 20% of these tasks within that bucket that will get you the 80% of the results? Identify them, or in some cases what happens is, like, when you know what your overall objective is, you want a 30% increase in sales, and you want it to impact more lives, and you want to touch more people, The 10 things that you may have for that bucket, few of those may not even relate, right? So now you're going to question, okay, why am I even doing this, or why are these being requested? And maybe there's a better way to help align those with the ultimate objective or goal that I'm after, right? And maybe those are not even pertinent, and maybe I can come up with something that can take care of 5 of these things that are on there that are probably not going to move the needle, and maybe I can just do this one thing that can help me at least make some progress, right? And then evaluate your list and understand, okay, now by doing so, what you've done, let me just recap, is you've taken all this stuff from what's in your mind, in your head, on paper. You've provided yourself a little bit more clarity, because you've bucketed or you categorized it into these bite-sized pieces, so you're not super overwhelmed. Now you're clear on where you want to go, right? Meaning like what your ultimate objective is for that category, why you want to do that. So now you're emotionally driven to make sure that goal gets accomplished, and all the to-do stuff is just the how to do it. And there's an infinite number of ways to achieve that goal. So now you have a methodology, of a way of thinking strategically to understand, okay, am I just gonna sit here and fight fires all day long and just knock out these tasks based on whatever the hotness level is at that time? Or am I gonna take a step back, think it through, figure out, okay, what's going to make the biggest impact, and is this task even the right task in order to make the progress in this particular category, right? So again, it's just it's a different way of thinking. It's a more strategic approach, and for me, and I'm hoping for you, it'll provide a lot more clarity, more productivity, and and time management, to make sure that you have some of that time back that you're doing, for example, completing tasks and not really seeing any progress, right? So those are the steps, and I'll include a worksheet down below to help guide you through that. All right, so let's go through some common do's and don'ts, right? Not everything that you do, not everything on your to-do list needs to be goal-oriented. This is just a way of thinking, a mindset to help you go through your to-do list and understand and make sure that you're actually making progress instead of just fighting fires all day. So again, you may have stuff on there that like, hey, I need to go spend some time with my kids, or I have to, run errands or whatever else. That's okay, right? But I'm just talking about like from a big picture standpoint, big bucket category standpoint, something that's going to impact your lives. This is kind of a way of thinking. So again, not everything needs to be, like goal oriented, right? Another thing is don't get overwhelmed. I mean, you have. There's going to be a lot of things on your to-do list, but just remember the 80-20 rule, which basically means that 20% of the items that are on your list will probably give you around 80% of the results that you're seeking after. So don't get overwhelmed by just the sheer number of things on your list. Apply that 80-20 rule, and then creating those major categories, those buckets, that's going to help you shrink that list down to something that's easily digestible, right? So those are just some of the common things to keep in mind when we're going through this. So let's get to the next steps. What do we do next, right? So all this stuff is well and good. All these principles, they're when you apply them, they'll make a huge difference in your life, just like they did in mine and my business and your business as well. But the important thing is you need to apply them, right? So what I'd like you to do is, there's instructions below, but basically just do this step by step. Let's plan out our day for tomorrow, okay? So this evening, when you have time, let's plan it out. And it may take you a few minutes, just, maybe have like 10-15 minutes. Let's jot down everything that we think we need to get done tomorrow, that's on our to-do list tomorrow, and let's go through this step by step. Jot it down. categorize it into the major buckets, identify the big picture of like what is the main purpose of that, what is the main objective of that bucket, right? And you had some examples there earlier. Why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? What's something emotional that's gonna drive me and keep me to push towards that objective, to make sure that I at least move towards it, right? Then evaluate them, make sure that we apply the 80-20 rule and figure out, these couple tasks here will probably get me the results I want. And do remember that, there may be some items that you generate that are not originally on your to-do list, but that'll get you the results that you want, which is the most important thing, right? So there may be things on your list that may not relate, or maybe you can tweak them a little bit so that they're more in line with what you're ultimately trying to achieve. Okay, so let's do that for tomorrow, and let's make this type of way of thinking almost habitual. Let's try this for the next 7 days. Let's map out our day for the day before, and see how things go. But I am almost certain that it'll help you as much as it has helped me to help provide a lot more clarity, a lot more decisiveness, being more productive, and help me in my time management. On the other thing I forgot to tell you guys was, once you figure out what are those tasks are that you want to do, make sure that you put them on your calendar, and that way you have them firm in your calendar and designated time slots, so that you know that you're going to work on those activities to move the needle, so that you can increase your productivity and get that much closer to your goal. And that's a very important step as well. All right, guys, till next time. This is Parag from ROMA International, and I'll see you then. Thanks, bye.